my fellow Americans. If you think you know politics, think again. I'm Michael Cohen, and every week on When You Know, we're pulling back the curtain on power, politics, media, and the people making headlines. On my new WABC radio show, you'll hear conversations from names that you know. People like Jerry Falwell Jr., Anthony Scaramucci, Alan Dershowitz, and many, many more. Maybe, just maybe, we'll even hear from the president. No scripts, no spin, just real conversations with people who were in the room where it happened. And trust me, we've got some very big surprises coming. Look, I've spent years at the center of politics, controversy, and power. I know the players, I know the stories, and now I'm bringing you inside. When You Know, Sundays at 5 p.m. on WABC Radio, and When You Know Unleashed, wherever you get your podcasts. Because with me, you never know who's going to show up.
John Terrett is with us, and he gives us a weekly report on what happened in the markets in the past week and what could happen in the future week. Well, John Terrett, give us an update.
Good morning, John. Well, three things dominated this past week: Iran, the Fed, and microchips, taking them in order. First of all, Iran at NATO. President Trump, of course, was there in Ankara in Turkey. He said he didn't think the Iran war would start again, but he did say the ceasefire was over, and he called the Iranian leadership scum. And, of course, that's just the kind of thing the markets don't like very much. There's a bit of a wobble going on midweek, although they're okay by the end of the week. President Trump also giving permission to Ukraine to make their own Patriot missiles and having a go at Spain for their light touch approach to NATO, suggesting that all U.S. trade with Madrid should be halted. The Spanish Prime Minister pushed back about that quite hard on Thursday. The other story was the Fed minutes, of course, from the June meeting, the first one chaired by Kevin Walsh. They showed that the FOMC committee is deeply split when it comes to inflation in America, what to do about it, to raise interest rates or to cut interest rates. Now, Wall Street has still factored in one hike in interest rates before the year's end. We'll see if that changes. A lot of economists do think that Kevin Walsh is buying time with those task forces that he keeps talking about to revamp parts of the Fed, like communications, for example. We'll see what happens. The other big story was microchips. Micron leading the way, based in Boise in Idaho, $250 billion being invested in domestic chip production here in America. And the other big story was only on Friday. SK Hynix was the biggest IPO for a foreign company ever to happen in America. It happened at the NASDAQ in Times Square. It is an ADR, that's what they call it, an American Depository Receipt. That's the name for companies from overseas who trade here. SK Hynix makes memory chips. They've invested a lot already in California and in Illinois. The share price was priced at $149. It came out at $170, and within a few minutes it was up by 14 or 16%, so they did very well. The crypto story of the week, listen to this very closely. President Trump is coming under pressure from those on Capitol Hill not to profit anymore from his cryptocurrency investments, like we saw last week when it turns out he made billions in his first full year in office, 2025. This is the Clarity Act, comes to the floor of the Senate one day next week or maybe the week after. The Clarity Act is the act which they've been working on for months and months, designed to make America the center of the cryptocurrency world. And so to the week ahead. Well, second quarter earnings gets underway proper on Tuesday. 5 of the big banks report, and on Thursday we get retail sales, which is part of the inflation story. John.
Well, thank you so much, John Terrett. And the week to come, I'm looking for sunshine. I guess the president in the United States and Iran have agreed to meet again, and who knows what happens.
It changes every day, doesn't it? That's the problem. Every day, almost every hour. And Wall Street doesn't like that. They don't like that level of uncertainty, which is why you see the kind of volatility that we've been seeing.
But if the low for oil last week was $67, $68. If they didn't like it, it would have gone up $10. It only went up $2 or $3.
You're right. It was up a bit on Friday. Of course, the people are asking, when are the gas prices going to come back down? That's the thing.
That's coming soon.
Prices
coming soon.
All right, John. Thank you. See you next Sunday. Thank you.